Hello and welcome to Peru's second webinar as part of our Expo 2020 webinar series. We welcome all of you from around the world. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you are. Today's webinar focus is on Peru Exports. Peru is recognized as a leading exporting country, providing a range of value-added, competitive, diversified, and consolidated goods and services for international markets. Today, our guest speaker is César Freund, who is the Deputy Director of Market Intelligence and Forecasts at Peru. From his economist background and over 20 years experience in the fields of foreign trade and exports and promotion, he will speak about the opportunities to engage with Peruvian exports. As a reminder, this is part of our webinar series, and we have a further 2 webinars to come. On the 22nd, we have one that is focused on investments and one on the 24th that is focused on gastronomy. We'll be sending out email invitations to all of you that have attended today through a newsletter, as you'll be part of our newsletter database. Also, you can find our social links if you follow us at Expo 2020 Peru. We're on these key channels: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we'll be talking about the upcoming webinars on those as well. So please do follow us to see everything related to the Peru Pavilion at Expo. I will be handing over to César Freund for his presentation, but remember, we will be having a Q&A session at the end, so do stick around. If you have any questions during the talk for César, please use the Q&A section that's on your Zoom handlebar. If you're on any of the social channels, you can also put them in the chat function. And when we finish the presentation, which will be about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, we will have a Q&A for about 10-15 minutes. Hopefully you'll be able to join that as well. We will collate all the questions, the most relevant ones, and share some of those with César. Okay, so for now, I will hand over to César. So César, if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen to start your presentation.
Thank you very much, William. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all ladies and gentlemen who are joining us in this series of seminars that Peru is organizing. Today, I'm glad to have the opportunity to share with you some of the business opportunities you can do with Peru, importing goods and services from our country. I will share the screen because I have a presentation. Here is it. This second. Now you should be seeing the presentation. Please confirm it's okay.
Yeah, we can all see César. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I will have the pleasure to share with you. Sorry, I can move forward. Here is it. To show you the Expo results of the Peruvian exports during the last year 2021. And I will go through also the sectoral exports and show you a little bit what are the characteristics and the competitive advantages Peru have in several sectors that we hope it will encourage you to do business or increase the business you are doing with Peru. Peruvian exports during the last 2 decades have shown a sustained growth at an annual rate of around 9%, which has meant that we have went from 6,800 billions of exports in the year 2000 to over $56.2 billion in the year 2021. It has represented a new record in the exports of Peru to the world. And it's important to note that during this period, a total of more than 8,500 companies exported more than 4,800 products to 170 markets on the 5 continents on the world. The participation of the exports in the gross domestic product of Peru during the year 2021 was around 28%, while during the years 2020 and 2029, it represented 20%. So this has meant an increase in the participation of exports as one of the main sectors contributing to Peruvian economy. Regarding the composition of the Peruvian exports, we divide them in two big sectors: the mining and energy sector, which represented a value of $36 billion during year 2021, and a growth of around 25%. This represents 65% of all the total exports during the year. This growth was basically supported by a higher export of minerals like copper, gold, iron, and other mining products. As from Peru, we focus more in the other big sector, which is the non-mining and energy sector. This sector comprises agricultural, fisheries, manufacturing, textiles, and the services sector. During the year 2021, we also counted a record in this subsector, surpassing 19,000 billion, with a growth of 30.7% and representing 35% of total shipments. This last 12 months on the year 2021 have been very positive for this non-mining energy sector, given that the 11 sectors that comprise it have shown positive behaviors in the exports during the year. It is important also to note that we have around 8,000 companies that exported non-mining energy products during the last year, an 11% growth, and also over 4,700 products were exported to 170 markets. The main destination to the Peruvian products were the United States, followed by China, the Netherlands, Chile, and Ecuador, both countries in the Latin American region. As I said before, the year 2021 was a very positive year for the export sector in Peru. It was a year of records. 4 sectors beat their previous shipments in the year 2021. These were the agricultural sector, the fishery sector, the chemicals, and the iron and steel. Also, 33 markets received shipments for an all-time high, the main ones being China, South Korea, India, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, Bolivia, among others. Also, 12 regions from Peru beat their previous records in exports, and 938 products also broke previous records in their exports. It's also important to note that we have over 2,000 new exported that registered exports during the year 2021. This has been possible, among other reasons, because the network of free trade agreements that Peru have signed in the last decades and help us to connect our country to over 58 markets in the 4 continents. We have currently 22 free trade agreements that cover more than 90% of all our shipments or exports to the world. More than 5,800 exporting SMEs have sent their goods to these 58 markets, and around 70% of these shipments was the percentage, like was the shipment from our regions, from these regions of Peru, represented closely 70% of all the exports. So you can see that the exports from Peru are very diversified and not only concentrated in few regions, but we have a big areas of exporters in Peru. It should be noted that Peru actively participates in various multilateral organizations and forums, such as the World Trade Organization, the Latin American Integration Association, which is called ALADI, and the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, APEC. And more recently, we have signed the largest preferential agreement in the world, the CPTPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, that includes 11 countries from 3 different countries. So we are very actively in closing the ties with the main markets in the world, so our exporter will have more preferential advantages when exporting their products to the world. We can see in the Latin American context how was the performance of Peruvian exports. We have a 35% increase. We were the 4th country in the region with the biggest increase in their export during the last year. We can also talk a little bit about the imports from Peru. During the year 2021, imports reached an amount of $46 billion, which make us have a trade balance with a result of a surplus of $9.7 billion. I think it's pertinent to mention that these imports are mainly capital goods and technology that is acquired by the country, and this has also contributed to the competitiveness of the Peruvian export sector. In this slide, you will see how Peru is positioned among the top providers in different products in the world. Now we have over 40 products in the top 10 exporters in the world. Previous the pandemic, we had around 30 products in this top 10. So this is a trend that is increasing, and we can mention that, for example, we are the first exporter in the world in blueberries, in quinoa, in fresh asparagus. We are for first time the exporters in the world in fresh grapes. Sorry. We are also the second in processed giant squid and squids, in avocados, in Brazilian or Amazonian nuts. You can see in this slide, and I'm sure you will have access to this presentation, how we highlight in different products in the exports in the world. Now I will go through the main exporting sectors Peru has. First one, the most important, is the agribusiness sector. The agricultural sector is the most important in the Peruvian export offer. Have seen outstanding achievement in recent years, standing out internationally for its competitive advantages. We can mention some of them. You can see it in the slide as well. For example, the boom in the Peruvian gastronomy that is recognized worldwide has made Peruvian biodiversity known. We have a high genetic diversity. We are one of the most important centers of plant and animal genetics resources. In fact, Peru is the first country in number of varieties of potatoes, bell peppers, corns, Andean grains, among other products. We have a very large number of species of fruit, over 650, and also in ornamental and food plants, over 787 species. Our farmers vertically manage ecological floors, working in a range of varieties of microclimates. By maintaining farm field at different altitudes and environmental conditions, they have contributed to develop a wide range of highly adaptable crop varieties. Likewise, Peru has the advantage of an off-season or counter-season supply, which has made possible to reach other markets when they are in low harvest or frost seasons, especially in Europe, North America, and Asia. We also have very important coastal irrigation projects. As you may know, the coast of Peru, which is between the Pacific Ocean and the Andean Mountain, is basically a desert. And in the last years, new irrigation projects have been developed, so the farming land have been extended, making it possible to extend the crops area. We also are conscious of the trends in healthy and sustainable eating that have generated a growing demand for fresh, functional, exotic, and overall organic products. It should be noted that the retail market for organic products has multiplied 7 times over the last year, and Peru has adapted to these global trends. and being now among the 10 countries with the largest number of organic producers. Also, the technological cycle is growing in the main products of the agribusiness exports, such in the blueberries, passion fruit, avocado, and pomegranate, and this has generated also a greater demand abroad. This is why we have developed the sectoral brands. You can see there the Superfood, the Pisco Spirit of Peru, and Coffees from Peru that help us to communicate the identity of the country and highlight the importance of the history behind the product, position the main products, culture, show our biodiversity, origin as an important attributes to be promoted around the world. All these have led us to gain international recognition in different products. We can mention, for instance, the chocolate. We have been awarded in important contests as the International Chocolate Awards, having the best dark origin chocolate, the overall winner, also in micro batch categories. We also have been awarded in the SPP Coffee Awards, and olive and vegetable olive oils have been recognized in contests like Olio Nuevo Days and the ABPA Paris Awards. Now we'll go on some figures on the agribusiness sector. This was one of the sectors that reached a record in 2021. It grew around over 18%, reaching 8,800 billion. Our main export products are the fresh grapes, the fresh blueberries, the fresh avocados, the unroasted coffee, and fresh asparagus. We have reached 141 markets, more than 2,500 companies exported during the last year, and the main destination markets were the United States, the Netherlands, Spain, UK, and Chile. As you may know, Netherlands is a main import port in Europe, so is not all the imports stay in the Netherlands. Instead of that, they are redistributed to other European countries, but these are the official figures we get from the customs. Now we go to another important sector in the exports of Peru. We're talking about the fishery sector. This sector, the fishery and aquaculture sector, also stands out among the Peruvian exports due to some of their characteristics that make it very competitive worldwide. In first place, we can mention our fishing tradition, which dates back to the dawn of the Peruvian culture more than 5,000 years ago. Since then, seafood has been a fundamental part of the diet of country inhabitants, and thanks to the climatic conditions, the abundance of Peruvian fishing is not only recognized by its amount of available resources, but also by their variety. The environmental management of the fishery activities comply with international regulations, ensure environmentally friendly extraction and cultivation with sustainable management approaches. Likewise, in terms of safety and security, the Peruvian state monitors and guarantees sanitary conditions in the cultivation, extraction, and processing of all the fishery resources. The proximity of the processing plants that are very near to the coastal area contribute to have an optimal conditions for the products that are exported to the world. This has, for instance, helped us opening new markets for our products, in being the most recent ones, for instance, squid, octopus, and scallops to Singapore, as well as octopus, eel, and squid to Australia, complying all their high standards in security. Constant innovation is also a characteristic of this sector. The frozen fish industry is characterized by their constant innovation, generating products that adapt to the new trends of consumption around the world. In terms of quality and technologies, significant improvements have been implemented in the frozen, can, and cure industry to preserve the original quality of these resources, positioning fishery products in the most sophisticated markets in the world. We are one of the main countries in sea capture, and we offer a great variety of marine and also continental, like the trout species, both native and introduced, which has allowed us to position as an important world supplier of fishery products of great variety and high nutritional value. Different species contain high levels of omega-3 and essential amino acids. And in addition, they are also important source of proteins, vitamins, high doses of minerals, among other benefits for health and to contribute to improving people's style and quality of life. Regarding the figures of this sector, this sector also accounted a new record in 2021. The exports reached over 3,800 billion. And the main exported products were the frozen giant squid and squids, the frozen prawns, the mahi-mahi, frozen scallops, and the frozen flying fish rolls. 92 markets were reached by this sector. This is a sector with a limited number of companies because of the high standard that the government of Peru imposed, and also to preserve the quality of ecological standards in the Peruvian coastline. The companies are monitored, and they have to comply a lot of conditions to be able to operate. The main markets destination to these fishery products were China, the United States, Spain, South Korea, and Japan. Another important sector in the exportable offer of Peru are the manufacturing products. This is actually a group of a lot of subsectors. We can mention some of the ones from Peru focus on the work on its work. For instance, we have the suppliers for the mining activities that stand out for their installed capacity and technological innovation to meet the demand of international markets. The high value added due to its content of transformation and development of engineer and technological innovation, the versatility of its offered, and the ability to adapt to the needs of the demand or the clients, and the specialized services provided for the construction of infrastructure for mining operation. In the material for construction sector, we can highlight that we have a lot of diversity of forest species that also have traceability, which help us fight the illegal wood sector. And we also offer an automation in the processes and exports of these woods. In the case of cosmetic and health sector, based on the biodiversity Peru has, we have developed a lot of natural ingredients based on plants, seeds, fruits, etc., that offer cosmetic benefits by demonstrated by efficiency tests. That, for instance, they validate the properties as moisturizing, emulsifying, protective properties, among others. Regarding the figures in this sector, two lines in this sector also accounted records in the year 2021. The sector in its overall has an increase of over 42% in the last year, accounted more than $5,000 billion or $5 billion, reaching 156 markets. This was possible by the export of around 5,000 companies, Peruvian companies. The main products that were exported in this sector were copper wire, calcium phosphates, and alloy zinc, iron and steel bars, and polypropylene strips. The main destination market for this sector was the USA, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, and Bolivia. As you may see, the main countries that import goods from this sector are based in Latin America, where we are very competitive with our offer. In the apparel and home decor sector, we can also mention some of the characteristics that made us competitive. Um, we have a very long tradition of exports in this sector. We can tell you about the Paracas and other pre-Hispanic cultures that made beautiful textile products. This is a tradition that goes back to 5,000 years ago. We also have very high quality natural fibers, such as the long staple cottons like the tanguis and especially the pima cotton, but it also applies to the alpaca fiber, one of the ones with highest quality in the world. They are also very easy to blend with other natural and artificial fabrics, making this very flexible to produce textile products in Peru. Our industry is also vertically integrated. We offer a full package services to the companies. This means we do not make a maquila, but we do it from the spinning to the final product, which also shipped with a final tag to go directly to the outlet. We also supply very important international brands from all over the world, which proves that the most important brands in the world trust the textile sector in Peru and do the production here in our country. We also have a sustainable industry. We comply with international standards regarding the sustainability of the sector. You can see also some sectoral brands that we have developed, Alpaca from Peru and Peru Textiles, and an iconic event, which is called Peru Moda, which we are invited to visit in the next edition. I hope it will be in person and not virtual as in the last years. The exports in this sector also show a very important growth during the last year, around 70% of growth. The year 2020 was a very hard one, we have to say, for this sector due to the pandemic. But hopefully, the recovery of this sector is on trace. The main exported products of Peru are cotton products like t-shirts, knitted shirts, textile from other materials, cotton sweaters, and also the alpaca fibers. Our main destination markets are the United States, Chile, Colombia, Canada, and Ecuador. And last but not least, the services sector. This is a sector that also is divided in some subsectors. For instance, we have services for the mining activities. We also provide services in the software industry. Also, we have in the marketing and animation sectors are included in the offer that Peru provides to the world in the sector. This one, the exports represented a growth in the last year. You can see a dramatic decrease starting in the 2020. This is because the sector service, the services sector includes travel and transportation. And you know, tourism has been greatly affected in last years. So that is why we also presented a chart in the other services, which include digital animation, digital marketing, fintechs, software, video games, that have grown a lot in the last years. And we also experienced a slight growth in this one. As in the manufacturing sector, the main markets of export of services for Peru are the Latin American countries like Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. This has been a very brief presentation of how we performed in the last year in the main exporting sectors. And now I hope that we will be able, as a trade promotion agency, to offer you some services if you want to do business from Peru. For instance, one of the main importance are the services that our trade offices, we have more than 30 around the world, can help you identifying the right clients for your company. You can also take a look to the offer that Peru has in many sectors in perumarketplace.com. This is a virtual exhibition for over 1,500 companies that has over 6,500 products that are being promoted in this platform. You can take contact with if you're interested in one specific company, and they will send you a quotation or start a business relationship. You can also meet us at the most important trade shows around the world, in North America, in Europe, in Asia, in Latin America. You will see our stands, and you will meet there the Peruvian companies. And also, you are invited to taking part of trade missions. I can also, if you're interested, to share after this presentation our calendar of events to see in which trade shows and what trade missions you are invited to participate. And finally, in the right side of the slide, you will see all the trademarks of the sectoral brands that From Peru has developed and helped to help the Peruvian companies to be identified in the world. So if you see in a product or in a company one of these brands, please be sure that this company complies with the highest standards in its processing, in its products, in its quality, safety, and everything possible. We have also implemented a sustainable culture brand which we try to encourage Peruvian companies to fulfill all these demands the international markets are requesting nowadays. So this is my presentation. Now I'll be glad to listen to your question and hopefully answer to them. If some of them I don't have the answer, I will be sure my colleagues will give me the answer and I will share it with you. Thank you very much.